Good morning. Happy Tuesday. It's interesting, some of the stuff that's coming out of the George Floyd murder case. St. Floyd. I caution people early on not to jump to conclusions. Everybody jumped to conclusions. I said that there was no reason why the other three cops, not the cop kneeling on his neck, but there's no reason why the other three cops should take any serious concern over George Floyd saying repeatedly that he couldn't breathe and carrying on conversations while doing so. Took a lot of heat over that. A lot of you folks thought that I was a big dum-dum because I said if you could talk, you could breathe. And of course, video evidence comes out of George Floyd in the police cruiser with no one kneeling on him saying he couldn't breathe. Isn't that amazing? Shocking, I know. Shocking when once again it turns out that your boy Johnny Bear knows more shit than you do. So, neener, eat a wiener. Anyway, apparently, reports are coming out, or at least according to the news. I haven't seen toxicology reports yet, but according to the news, there's no physical sign of asphyxiation in the autopsy. Interesting, isn't that? Interesting. According to the news, he took a lethal dose of drugs, and had there not been any video evidence, they would have just simply ruled it outright as a just regular old overdose. If there hadn't been a big outcry, they would have just ruled it outright as a regular overdose. All this explosion of hatred. I mean, I'm not actually blaming this explosion of hatred and rioting and bullshittery on the death of George Floyd. I mean, people just latched onto it as an excuse. It was the excuse they needed to go ahead and start doing what they wanted to do. I mean, we all can see that none of this shit has anything to do with George Floyd. No one really gives a shit about him. They just want to loot, burn, riot. Who knows why? But for those of you who are giving them cover, well, maybe you should think about this. For those of you who are out there protesting, legitimately, peacefully protesting, initially, you should think about the cover you were giving rioters based on information you didn't fully understand. Because I warned that there's a good probability these cops are being overcharged, especially the three cops who were not kneeling on Floyd's neck. They had no way of knowing that anything possibly wrong was going on. And as far as Chauvin, whatever, as far as that guy, you know, I am not saying that he should have knelt on the guy's neck, but if it wasn't against policy, I mean, I don't know if it was or wasn't against policy. I don't really care. I don't think people should be kneeling. I don't think cops should be kneeling on suspects' necks. I think that probably was excessive force. It doesn't make it murder. Doesn't make it manslaughter. No, it fucking doesn't. Especially not if the guy took a lethal overdose of drugs. If the guy would have died, regardless of what Chauvin did, and if Chauvin didn't accelerate that death or worsen it, I don't know how you can worsen death, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, like if you shoot someone in the head right after they took a lethal dose of drugs, you'd be guilty of murder. But if you slap someone in the face after they took a lethal dose of drugs, well, you're not guilty of murder. I mean, you're guilty of assault, battery, theoretically. But you're not guilty of murder because you're not accelerating the death. You're not what you did isn't. I mean, if someone took a just slightly less than lethal dose of drugs, and then you knowingly gave them a little bit more, that would turn that less than lethal dose into a lethal dose, then I don't know why I'm rambling, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Cops are probably not going to get convicted of murder. And because they were overcharged, the jury is probably not. I mean, when it comes out in court that all this was a fucking witch hunt, that all of this was just a political reaction to the death of a nonsense felon who died of an overdose, and these cops' lives were ruined because of the death of a junkie that wasn't their fault. Juror's not likely going to get them on battery or anything else. Juror's probably going to say these guys, their lives have been ruined. They've suffered enough. We're going to say they're innocent. Because I mean, these cops have suffered. They have suffered. They have been punished without due process. Anyway, I've rambled long enough. Think about it. There's some bullshit going on now up in Kenosha over another guy, theoretically speaking, but again, he's just a reasonable excuse. Don't give him cover. Don't give him cover. Let justice take its course. Justice will take its course. Just ask Patty. He got a $50,000 payout because of bullshit the government did. Let justice take its course. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.